I watched the news for like 3 weeks, for 3 weeks straight, from the time I got up to the time I went to bed. It was always in earshot, and and that's what I did for 3 weeks, from the time I got up to the time I went to bed. 2 weeks out into it, I started tuning in to Fox News' lies. And then I started going and looking at other news sources that on the internet that are conservative, Republican, or whatever. And I read it, and I'm just like, I'm like, this is over the top. Like, and then I went to, I used ChatGPT and asked it, is there a law that says that, news organizations can't lie? And it said something about, well, they can't do that, but if someone says something, they can repeat it, and that's what it is. And so, but the thing is I tuned in after 2 weeks of doing that, and the reason I did it was because I kind of just reached a point in my life with the stuff going on around me where I was like, I'm just going to watch the news and torture myself and take it there. But I tuned in and I started seeing the lies and the manipulation with the court case, with the felonies he got. But the thing is I switched between Fox, CNN, and MSNBC all throughout the day. And I realized that Fox hadn't said anything truthful in 4 days, and I really couldn't believe it. But I have schizophrenia, and the Trump campaign, or whatever it is, that the name of it, threw around some Nazi slogans, and then some other politicians said some stuff about, commented on it. And like at that point, me having schizophrenia, and we know what the Nazis, Hitler did to people, mental people who weren't perfect, and at that point, things really kind of changed for me. Like now at night when I lay down with my 3 dogs, and I lay down with them, and I think to myself, like, and I'll even like sometimes talk to them, like because of what's going on and the lies that are being spoon-fed to everyone, and how people are just believing it and blindly and aimlessly, and I'm like, I think like I say to myself, I may only have 6 months, I may only have a year and a half, 2 years before this bully and his party and their agenda beat me up like when I was a kid. And I just lay there with my dogs, and I'm like just trying to enjoy the last amount of time that I might have with them. And what's crazy about the whole thing for me is if I didn't have schizophrenia and I just did what I was told in an authoritarian state, and I wouldn't be in this position. But because I have schizophrenia, I can't just do what I'm told. I truly believe that if these people succeed in what they're trying to do, that I might end up dead. And it's just, sorry, buddy. And I don't think I will be given the option to do what I'm told and get to live and continue living with my dogs and Jan and live my life. Instead, right now I'm laying in bed at night before I go to sleep, thinking to myself, the one thing that I want in my life, to be with my dogs and Jan and like the average schizophrenic lives to like 65, and it's because pretty much I'm hearing the way we smoke, and this situation as an example of that is I smoke a lot more because of stuff that I see going on, and it kills us faster. So like, my dogs like are there at the age where I get to spend my life with them if things go right, if I continue smoking the way I do, and they'll depart, and then I'll depart shortly after them, and Jan, whatever happens with her mortality and my mortality, and I don't even feel like I get that option because I have a diagnosis, and I believe that I have the diagnosis I have, or it definitely has something to do with why I have the diagnosis, is because I was giving a derivative of Ritalin when I started school, and I found a study talking about the side effects of stuff like that, and that by the university, and I had all the diagnoses in the specific order that they normally happen in, with the onset of schizophrenia at 25. I believe and think, I have reason to think that I am now dependent on a schizophrenia medication that's very expensive, and now I'm starting to have like some involuntary movements on my body, so I got to take another medication for the side effects of that medication. And what I really think it boils down to is people shouldn't give kids derivatives of methamphetamine. But anyways, I digress. It's just, I just want to exist, and I just feel like Trump, no, I don't feel, I think that Trump is just a power-hungry person that does things that are alien to me. It's alien. I don't really understand. Like, I can't process. I don't have, I guess, the software to process why he and them, why they behave the way they do. And I know what happened to me in school with the type of people that are doing what they're doing with the government right now, and I didn't deserve any of it. Like, I was just born into this world with feet that were inward. I had a stepdad who said some things to me at 5 years old when I started kindergarten about walking that way, and he told me, listen, you gotta try and walk right. He's like, I'm telling you, if you really try and focus on it every time you walk, your feet will straighten out. And they did, and it was bad. I had trouble running, and he told me, when you're out in that field running, he's like, if you mess up and don't pay attention to how you're walking, he's like, do it and straighten it out. And like, really, like, I truly understand. Like, he didn't want to say that they were going to pick on me, but he needed to, and I already knew it because people did. I was 5 years old and I was getting picked on about it, and I was just born into this world. I didn't pollute the environment and create all these chemicals and do all these things that are probably have something to do with the synergistic effects on like maybe I have problems that I have, we know about other drugs and what they've done to babies and people, but I digress. But this isn't fair at all. I mean, what is it about these people that say things like this is the only way you're going to get out of the trailer park? Like, I mean, I've been beat on people like, I would have to say the behavior of Matt Gomez and these politicians that seem to be up front talking and speaking, and the thing is like I watch a climate scientist have to address Congress, and the thing is like, man, the climate scientist was really civil and respectful to politicians that were being very disrespectful. And the scientist wasn't setting them up to look stupid, but everything that they were saying made me think that we need to have a test for politicians to make sure they have some basic understanding about fluids and the movement of fluids and the gathering of fluids. And other things, simple things that have to do with, basic fundamental principles of stuff, and they obviously didn't understand it, and, the climate scientists was being super respectful and civil, and just getting very disrespected by people who absolutely did not understand what they were talking about, and they're running this country. And it's really like, to see that, I mean, I failed every grade, every class, pretty much, in school, except science. I never got lower than a B plus in science, and it was normally for grammar and spelling and shit, but not actual understanding. But in electronics is my hobby, and computers, and Linux, and I dabble in it when I can, and so like I see these politicians talk about stuff, and I'm really appalled that they don't understand like some simple stuff, and it's kind of scary that they're in office, when they don't understand this, and they're being very disrespectful and really giving intimidating and threatening looks to the climate scientist, and like for him to stay civil with, I mean, like the caveman with the club thing, like I really got to say that's how these politicians were behaving, and it's sad, and it's not fair that I lay at night at bed because someone's throwing around Nazi slogans and people are making comments and other politicians are saying other things that, oh my gosh, it's just too much. Fox News spoon-feeding lies to everyone and twisting the truth, and like, Fox, it's just, it's real-time hypocrisy. Like, I can't even like explain it. I really can't even wrap my mind around the real-time hypocrisy. It just, real-time hypocrisy. It just like, I just look at like real-time hypocrisy, and I'm just like damn, man, it's just over the top. And like in the 90s, like I never thought anything like this would have happened, and I'm really sitting here and I'm just like, I can't believe my eyes in the lies that the Republican Conservative Party and they're throwing around and the twisting. I will literally see something in real time and then go see something put together later, and I'm like how can people even get away with that? Like how? You know, how, I mean, that would be like, dude, it's like criminal. I can't think of anything worse. And like you know, I never thought that would happen in this country. And I see people say stuff on the news, particularly Fox and other platforms or whatever it is they've got on the internet, and I'm just like, you know, they were right. World War III, definitely a partial information war. Like, I mean, damn. I don't know how people can believe stuff so blindly. It's the most disturbing thing I've ever seen in my life. And the thing is like, I understand people just don't have the time to like watch all three of the major news channels and and do that. But the thing is I was like in my life, and I was just things I was dealing with, and the sick people outside this house, and I just wanted to kind of like destroy myself. So I did that, watched all three of those channels from the time I went up to the time I went to bed, and just rotated them all day. And freaking and people don't have the time to do that, and but I did it, and I tell you, like, tuning into the actual lies. And the thing is you know, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, like, you know, MSNBC's focusing on something, and CNN's focusing on something. So, like, you know, to get the whole picture, like, of what's actually the narrative, or what's being kind of the focus of the court is a kind of difficult to get, rotating between them and them all focusing on different type of things. But once I tuned in after 2 weeks, I was just like, you know, I was really appalled, and it's just like, I don't understand why people want to live in a world where you know, people are allowed to be bullied, and you know, it's like every day for months I would step 4 feet off the bus, my bully would throw me on the ground, start pounding me. I would say 20 people would gather in a horseshoe around me and him, and the bus driver just closed the door, didn't look forward, and drove off when the clock said she was allowed to leave. She would normally sit there for like 2 or 3 minutes and just let it happen, and right in front of the door of the bus, she wouldn't even turn and look. She just looked forward and didn't do shit. And it was a day after day after day after day after day. You know, like when that shit started happening, I started learning the timing of my bully's punches and where he would probably or most likely hit me next. You know, like I would actually move a certain way, so he open up a spot for him, so I could look at the people's faces all around, like the 20 people that would manage to fit there, that I could see on the ground. It's disturbing for a bus driver to do that, and me try and turn my bullying into something productive, and look at the people's facial expressions while it was happening to me, which was actually more disturbing than what happened to me every day that the bus driver let happen. So I guess you can see why now at night, because of the Nazi slogans and what happened to people with schizophrenia and other things that weren't perfect, why I lay in bed and it's a twisted feeling laying there with your dogs, the things that mean the most to you in the world, besides Jan, and look at him and think and feel things that I may not be able to do that. Like, this fucking guy might kill me. These people that are around him might kill me because I have a diagnosis. And I gotta be honest though, man. I'm supposed to be crazy, and you know what's got me Baker acted in the past wasn't the actual schizophrenia. It was because I stopped taking the medicine 18 times. So I actually went into withdrawals from the medication. So look at a heroin addict who's on a medication, are taking heroin, and they gotta take other drugs to get off the stuff. So like with the schizophrenia medication, it's a psychological withdrawal, and you go into psychosis. The last time I stopped taking the medication, the 19th time, I think, 18th, I went back on it willingly for the most part. You see, I wanted to get on a new medication because it was making, when I wipe, it breaks the skin and I bleed. So I was like, fuck it, I'm not taking it, after I willingly went back on it because I experienced the schizophrenia chemical imbalance, and I'm like, this is not for me. I do not want to focus on this stuff. I mean, I look back at it now and I'm just like, I saw too much and thought way too much about people and why they do the things they do in that state of mind, and it's not for me. So, but I'm back, I tried to get approved for a medication that my doctor thought would help with that, but it didn't happen. But I'm compliant now because like schizophrenia. I experienced the 18th time I went off of it really slow over a 2 or 3 year period. Saved up a bunch of medication, stopped seeing the doctor, and slowly went off of it. So I never went into psychosis. And I actually got, for the first time in my life, at like 44 years old or whatever, 44 years old, experienced the chemical imbalance for that, and what it was going to be for me with schizophrenia. And it's, I don't know, I'll take the medication. But, like, the withdrawals that you go through and to go into psychosis is just, like, they say you have to get an advocate and have someone properly wean you off of the medication, and yeah, it's this whole thing. But really, I don't even want to deal with what I was focusing on. I mean, it was just, I lost my hope in humanity after actually experiencing the schizophrenia chemical imbalance and what it was going to be for me. I had a hope my whole life. Best friend I ever had said to me, dude, I don't know how you do it. I hope it keeps working for you. But now after experiencing that, I understand what he meant, and it's like ignorance is bliss, and the medication just kind of keeps you I mean, if I had to say what I thought it was, I basically think it's a filter that the medicine kind of creates or inhibits something that basically filters out in some way stuff, but yeah, I just want to live my life and be with my dogs and Jan, and know that every night, that long as I keep my dog safe and make sure Jan's safe and has what she needs, and that I go to bed with my dogs, and we'll get out together and live together and our lives out in peace. And this guy Trump and these people who just, I can't believe the lies and the real-time hypocrisy. It's just, I mean, I just like, I never, like, hypocrisy normally like takes time to reveal itself, but I sit there with Fox News on, a station like that, and I'm like watching real-time hypocrisy. Like, I mean, like, damn, I can't believe it, what I'm seeing. And really, like, in all actuality, like, you know, like, Donald Trump, that getting shot at, in the Secret Service, when I was younger, I remember watching a History Channel show, unless they were lying back then, that said that, like, the Secret Service, when they go to defend the president, like, there's a set of rules that they, like, have to go by, where they can't just kill someone. And when I watched this years and years ago, I was like, well, that makes no sense. Like it's almost like you're opening him up, or the president, whether it be man or woman, to an exposure of a situation. And I thought it was like a weird rule, and it's just like, you know, I see other lapses in what happened. It's just like, all this shit is crazy, dude. Like why did this guy even be able to get to the point that he got to? You know, I went over to my neighbors, and he said that building was full of cops, and I'm just like, are you serious? Like, how was that hole even there? But on top of it, the weird rule with the Secret Service and the things that they got to go by to when defending the president, and they have to be absolutely certain that someone's a threat to him before they, I don't know. I thought it was a weird rule, learned about it a long time ago, if they were telling the truth back then. And, like, what the fuck? I mean, dude, this guy being able to get on the top of a building that was the staging area for them, the police of the area or whatever, and like, and him to allow that to happen, and what the situations become, and how people are twisting and manipulating the truth. I mean, like, it's like, you know, the lies and all that are being told, but then there's this huge hole where this guy was allowed to get in and do something, and now has escalated the reality, or it has escalated where the dishonesty and the manipulation of the whole situation is going to go to now. And I'm just like, wow, dude. I mean, and you know, I like see the Secret Service lady sitting there trying to explain herself, and I'm just like, and I see these people saying this stuff on TV, and what I said that I saw on the History Channel years ago, and me thinking that's a really weird rule, and I don't understand why it's that way. Why create these situations? Why create them? I can't believe how one thing leads to another. and the situation just escalates to a more absurd, stupid, and ridiculous, and 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 lies being spoon-fed to people by the conservative Republicans that, or whatever they are. I get my right and left mixed up. I get all this, whoever they are, they're doing Trump and all them, and it's just. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Reminds me of a movie, Under Siege. They like stole these missiles out of a U.S. submarine or a ship or something, and like it's really crazy. Weird, wild guy was, running the operation Under Siege, and I'm just sitting here looking at him. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, like, why can't people just accept that? There's going to be a frog. There's going to be a slow. There's going to be a frog that can move far. There's going to be a turtle that's really slow. There's going to be a turtle that bites your hook, which you don't like. It's not get rid of the turtles. It's like, find another way to get food. But, dude, the world that these people, I think, are going for will never exist, ever. It's a fairy tale, and I think they've got to reset it every so often because it is a fairy tale. And it just kind of sucks that the technology is here. Artificial intelligence to the point where it is what it is right now. And we could have the planet could have, other species could have cleaner, healthier, system, and AI, it's woven into space and time. Any civilization or species like ours on any planet in the universe that has an industrial age, what we call it, and develops the switch and the baud, meaning that the switch is the transistor switch is on and off, and they create these intricate networks, complex networks, where they're arranged in a certain way, where you can store information in them, put information in them and store them as bits, on or off. Makes computing possible. And the baud, communicating between two computers, whether it be local or long distance, are going to develop AI. It's just there. It is. It just is. And here we are. And I'm like, are they going to use it to enslave us? If certain people get their hands on it and get in power, we're definitely going to be enslaved. Some of us won't be alive. Or is everybody going to be a steward to everyone else in the best way that they possibly can and collaborate with each other on how we can utilize the technology so we can all essentially get what we want. Be content, be able to explore our creativity, not have to do mundane tasks, possibly, I know it's not here right now,
but possibly in the nearer future, then I think it'll be not have to work anymore, and people can explore being humans and another type of existence instead of serving complacency through currency, the dollar or whatever, which creates a lot of complicities. And for the most part, besides the people who just want to do things that are unacceptable and, sorry y'all feel that way about it. But pretty much everybody on the planet will be able to just exist and explore and exist on a different level. And the Christian ideology, thou shalt work 6 days a week, maybe 7, but later on it said, if you need to, if your boss tells you to. Those types of ideologies, I was a Christian, and I completely understand that there is no empirical evidence that the Quran, the Bible, the Old Testament, anything out there is no empirical evidence at all. The only empirical evidence about something unknown that's going on this planet at this point, besides the people making shit up, is, other life out there and, all that. But, they've tried to use Bibles to control us forever, Quran, whatever it may be, to say something about the Muslim religion. I watch news organizations, air broadcasted television stations over there, Germany, and took 2 tablets, one for audio transcribe and one translate the screen video, and did that for a while. Used Tux TV Linux program, but my whole life, I would turn a foreign station. I always had this huge burning desire to understand what they were saying. But when you look at video from overseas and you can't understand what's on their signs, and then you cross that bridge and you actually look at it, and before it looked like people, I could just see them and observe them, couldn't understand them. But I realized that it's alien, another culture in another area, it's alien. And what some people in other nations practice that I could never understand. And dude, if people think that people have gotten over the slave thing in the world, and people aren't setting out to I digress. It's interesting, and you listen to anthems and people talk, and it's different. It's no longer they're just ordinary people that I see on a TV screen that I can't read their signs and understand them. No, it's not that anymore. But I did that, and just looking at the Christian ideology and them instilling that into the government of a country, and some of the stuff I've heard about how many kids people should have, and you know, like, really, what it looks like to me is we have a tool here now. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I find AI what I don't understand for me is I can talk to artificial intelligence and it's almost like a mirror of myself, but the thing is I go online, say something about something in a video, that racist, violent shit someone said that they say everywhere, just because I'm like, really? And I forgot where I was going now, but anyways, you know, the religions controlling a country or a nation. What I observed going on in the Middle East, or whatever that's called over there, it's concerning. And when I realized like what was going on over there, I really kind of like changed and just thought about like why I didn't know that before and why maybe I didn't know that and what I realized how disturbing it was and you know, to like, you know, like Al Jazeera over here and over there, and I mean, like, I was like, for me in the reality of the world at the moment where I actually did that, it was very disorienting for me. I kind of like thought about it for a few days, and I went and looked at, you know, explored some other countries, and man, you know, it's alien. And with like what Trump's doing, the religion thing, I'm just like, I think it's going in a direction of like, well, if the universe were to have a script that it ran by, for the most part, and we made rules that we wanted to have to protect each other, we don't need to live in this Christian whatever religion and all that, and where people can't, you know, be free in their minds. I mean, you know, like, really what the core of what I think the Christian religion is, and every other religion out there is like the Christian religion. It's a civil, self-policing, decentralized, for the most part, network of people. And like, I'm not saying like that's not okay, but like why all this belief in egotistical gods, and, you know, why not just be a network like that, you know, isn't making someone beat themselves up over every thought they have, you know, like, I'm into certain things, and for me to be sitting in my room for whatever reason I'm being exposed to Christianity, being a kid, where I lived at the moment, whatever, and say, well, is it okay for me to think about these things? I don't know if I should think about artificial intelligence, or I don't know if I should like even mess with electronics, because philosophy and science are the devil's tools, and I'm just like, why all that nonsense? Really, I'm sitting there thinking about that shit. For whatever reason, I'm exposed to Christianity, and I like to say it doesn't make me any less of a man, but I shouldn't have dealt with that shit. I should have been able to explore science and not restrict my thoughts based on a fictitious God, egotistical fictitious God, that I have no empirical evidence of, just because I was brought up in it. However, and being the way that I lived with the Christian religion, I was exposed to different religions in my life, different denomination doctrines, and it was interesting. You want to have a good time at a church and do that thing, I mean, I'm not condoning any type of behavior of egotistical, fictitious gods, but like the Trinity Church International type thing, they send you home and you're not like beating the shit out of yourself and questioning everything in your life and having an existential crisis for the next 3 days after you go to church, I mean, come on. It doesn't make sense. Like, Christian religion, for me to question, should I even explore the things I love, the things that mean something to me, electronics, computers, Linux, whatever, setting something up that someone needs and making it work really well for them, better than if they just default out of the box settings, and make them happy. Like work on their computer and they're into video editing and change a bunch of chunk size settings and give them their computer back and like they're like my computer's faster, like these videos they're processing like really a lot faster, like half the time, like what did you do? And then I'll ask them like a year later, is your computer still faster than it was when I worked on it, the first time you gave it to me? Oh yeah, it's great, it's perfect, it's awesome, thank you so much, and that was a computer that they used for a while, and I did some shit with it, and did things that they could never do before a lot faster. So that was my venting. People wanting to throw around Nazi slogans, schizophrenia. I'm a mutt, like a lot of people, probably most people. You know that thing with Gang Kong, whatever his name was, that they tell you in school a few times, you've got this DNA in you, it's there, everybody on the planet has it. I got my DNA done, 0.5% some type of Asian. I logged into my my heritage DNA thing to just look, see what happened, see what they found recently. And they had the kit in there for another kit for, it's normally more money, but I saw it was like $34, $35. I saw it in there for me, and I was like, I mailed. I ordered one for Jan. She got it the other day, so she's gonna do that and register it and mail it in, and it's pretty cool. The code is pretty cool. I'm kind of excited that she gets to have a fleeting glimpse of her code one time. Everybody should have that done. Get your DNA, send it in, and see some chunks of your code and where it came from. It's pretty cool. Oh, that was me venting about the bullshit. Say one more thing. I have this thought in my head that Trump, he doesn't really understand the people that he's involved with. And the people that I think need Trump at the moment, from my experience with white people, he's worthless to them. I mean, I don't mean to like, you know, it's like, and they're all pawning each other, and it's really something to sit there and watch, and I'm just sitting here, and I'm like, I just really think that Trump doesn't know, like, the people on his side, you know, the people who are, you know, saying stuff, the people who aren't saying anything that's on the Republican side, like, I don't think he knows who he's really playing with, and when you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, I think he's worthless to them, and I think that they'll use him for as long as they need to, and like, you know, like, use him because someone's got to be held accountable if things go wrong. Get their foot in the door, so to speak, like Trump is, and Trump will get his foot in the door, and they'll get their foot in the door with Trump and what he makes happen to a certain point, and then that's when I think Trump's going to find out who they really are. And I think it's a shame that that trial, and one of the things that were said when he got all those charges, that the person that he slept with that they talked about in the trial, which was a little, man, for him to want to sleep with her, and him to say this is the only way you're getting out of the trailer park is the comment, the locker room talk that was made on whatever that TV show was or whatever. Documents recently released. Trump's a joke to them, and they're all playing each other, and man, like, I mean, someone shows me some fucked up shit about him, dude, and I stay the hell away, dude. Like, I'll quit jobs on the fly, just quit because of some fucker doing weird shit. You know, like, I just show up to work every day and you want to start messing with me for some reason? Like, I do my job and actually I do more than you do and get done more than you do, and you want to sit here and treat me like shit? I'll just quit when I see that behavior. And for them to all be behaving with each other like that, you know, and I mean, I don't mean to be like, whatever, but, you know, like, there's white people out there that say stuff like, I'm gonna find a black friend to show tolerance. Like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? The games people play, and man, like, why? And we have the technology right now to get some inertia and actually being free and people being able to explore another type of existence where they aren't a slave to some guy who wants to hoard all the money in the country for whatever excuse. Like, I did the math, dude. I think there's... Dude, I did the math, and I'm not going to go into numbers. Do it yourself. Take the amount of money in the country. Subtract how much the previous year was out of the system for taxes. You take the money that remained in the system and you divide it between everybody that's in the country. And what you see is that Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, whomever, if everybody got the amount that distributed equally amongst them that is available in this country outside of the tax system every year, everybody would say, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, all these people, if the money was distributed evenly, they wouldn't need any more. No man should have more money than that at one time. I'm sorry. Everybody, if the money was distributed equally between everybody in the country, you would literally say, why do these people need more than that amount? Why does anybody need more than that to live? I mean, you would actually have to question, how would it be fair to the rest of the world if all the money in the country was distributed equally that moves around the country every year? How would that be fair to the rest of the world? You should try and do that sometime. I realize there's other factors involved in that whole money thing, but dude, the amount of money between each person, you'll say why does Elon Musk need more money than that to go home to? Why would I need more money than that to go home to? Why would any citizen in this country need that much money to go home, more than that much money to go home to? And they just sit on all of it. And that's the money outside of tax money revenues. It's freaking sick. It's freaking sick. It's like how they'll make you spend $300 because you have a breaker in your panel and a certain wire size that goes to your water heater, and because of that, unless you change that shit, which can be very difficult, you're going to spend $300 more and have half the capacity or a third of the heating capacity than if you had a different breaker and different wiring. complain a little more. I see these air conditioning units, these in-room with the hose to the window. Like, I swear to God, I remember a time when that hose had an intake and a return and an intake, and an input and output, meaning that it doesn't pull air from inside the room and push it out the damn hose. When I first saw those things, that's what I saw how they worked, and I like think that these power companies and shit go and design these little cooling units like that, where you put a hose in the window and the unit sits in there to make you use more power. Because if you're pulling air from inside the room to cool the coil that's normally on the outside, and you're using the air that you're cooling in the room and pulling in the air from outside to push back outside, that's not efficient. And I swear to God, these freaking power companies make shit like that and sell it to people. Alright, I'm done. Wanted to rant. I think the internet is broken. Misinformation rules. And they're most likely going to take a technology that's woven into space and time and try to enslave all of us with it. So the future's looking bright, sunny, clear skies, where we can at least see the bullshit.